This video is sponsored by PTCGLstore.com, a great place for you to buy Pokemon TCG code cards. Hey guys, in today's video, we'll be showcasing Salvatore from the Temporal Forces expansion set. Please note that the supporter card rule still applies to this card. The card reads, search your deck for a card that has no abilities and evolves from one of your Pokemon, and put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. You can use this card on a Pokemon you put down when you were setting up to play, or on a Pokemon that was put into play this turn. So basically, even if you just put a basic Pokemon in your bench this turn, you can evolve it right away with Salvatore. However, it is also important to keep in mind that you will not be able to evolve a Pokemon that you just evolved with Salvatore. In the right setting and build, this card can be very powerful indeed. And today, I'll be showcasing Exploud alongside Salvatore, and interestingly enough, I have not actually showcased this card in my channel yet, so here we are. I just think Exploud is a fun card to play, mostly for its attack, Sudden Shout. For one colorless energy, you can discard your opponent's active Pokemon and all attached cards. However, one requirement to this attack is that you have to have just evolved from LOUDRED during this turn. Otherwise, this attack does nothing. Naturally, I will have a 4-4 line of Whismur, LOUDRED, and Exploud in this build. So really, you cannot just evolve into Exploud using a rare candy, and this is also why I don't have any rare candies in this deck. And this is where Salvatore really comes in handy. And again, you do have to be mindful of your sequencing, because now as long as you can evolve Whismur with a LOUDRED card from your hand, you can then use Salvatore to evolve LOUDRED into your Exploud. Now you can effectively use its attack to discard your opponent's active Pokemon for a single energy. Additionally, I also have a copy of Arazu, which lets you search your deck for up to 3 non-rule box evolution Pokemon card to put into your hand. This will be helpful for slowly evolving our Exploud lineup. And I also have a copy of TM Evolution, and this tool card allows its user to use the evolution attack for a single colorless energy. It allows you to evolve up to 2 of your benched Pokemon. But now, since Exploud is fully evolved and having been able to use Sudden Shout, you will not be able to use that same attack the next turn. So this Pokemon will have no other option other than to attack in the succeeding turns. Its attack headbang deals 140 damage but requires 3 colorless energy. And this is why I also have a couple of reversal energies. This normally counts as 1 colorless energy, but if your opponent has taken more prizes than you, this energy provides 3 energies of every type instead, given that this is attached to an evolution Pokemon with no rule box on it. There is, however, a way for us to continue to evolve into another Exploud and continue to use its disruptive attack. And this is thanks to Professor Turo Scenario. This card lets you put one of your Pokemon in play into your hand, but you do discard all the attachment from that Pokemon. So with this, you can re-evolve into another Exploud and continue to use its Sudden Shout attack. You can use Sharon Scare as an alternative because LOUDRED is a colorless Pokemon, however, it does require that your Pokemon have damage counters on it. So for me, I think Professor Turo's scenario is a little bit more consistent when it comes to removing your Pokemon from play. So now that you've effectively discarded your opponent's Pokemon, the next step is to prevent them from setting it up again. To help disrupt our opponent this way, I'm using Toedscruel with a Slime Mold Colony ability. Cards in your opponent's discard pile cannot be put into their hand by an effect of your opponent's abilities or trainer card. Unfortunately, this ability is limited only to any cards that is recovered from their discard pile to their hand. So your opponent can still use Super Rod, which is why Airy is also another great card you can use. Your opponent reveals their hand and you discard up to 2 item cards you find there. So if you focus on discarding their recovery items, you should be good. And Misfortune Sisters is actually a good option as well. You look at the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck and discard any number of item cards you find there, and your opponent shuffles the other cards back into their deck. So again, another effective way of discarding your opponent's item cards. And the Sandshrew can also be a good disruption against your opponent as well, thanks to its Sand Screen ability, which prevents trainer cards from being recovered from the discard pile back to their deck using item or supporter cards. So with all that in mind, it's just a matter of completely disarming your opponent until they concede or you knock out their Pokemon slowly with Exploud. As for the other cards worth noting though, I'm using Cleffa as my main draw engine with the attack Grasping Draw. For 0 energy, you draw cards until you have 7 cards in your hand, and this is also a nice pivot since it has 0 retreat cost. And then I also have Prime Catcher. You can only have 1 A-Spec card in your deck, but this is good for switching in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to their active spot. And if you do, you also switch your active with one of your benched Pokemon. This is a great way for targeting a Pokemon you want to discard with Exploud. And finally, I also have copies of Gift Energy. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, draw cards until you have 7 cards in your hand. This is a great way for keeping your hand consistent. But yeah, Exploud is actually a very interesting and fun Pokemon to play. Its attack is very disruptive, however the requirement for it can sometimes be a little hard to fulfill consistently. But thanks to Salvatore, you can play this deck even more effectively. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You can find the complete deck list in the description below, and now please enjoy the following gameplay videos showcasing Exploud. Before we get into the video, I have a small request. If you're liking the content I create, please leave a like to this video, and please support this channel by subscribing if you haven't already. This is a small click for you, but for me, it means a lot. Thank you so much for all of your support. Alright, on to our first match. My opponent will be going first, which means on our first turn going second, we can actually use our supporter cards. And we're going to start with Whismur in our active spots. We do have an energy, but we probably need to establish more basic Pokemon on our bench so that we don't lose this game. Okay, my opponent is actually using Gardevoir EX. I have been seeing this deck a lot in the ladder lately. It is a very powerful build for sure. So they just use Gardevoir EX as their main energy accelerator. And then they use Drifloon, which is a single prize Pokemon with a Balloon Blast attack. And that attack does 30 damage for each damage counter on that Pokemon. So triple the damage on it, and it uses that as the attack damage output. It has the potential to one-hit knockout any Pokemon in the game. Very powerful. Thankfully, we did get a Buddy Buddy Poffin from our draw this turn. So I'm just gonna set up Cleffa so that we can draw this turn. And then also a Toedscruel, and maybe disrupt my opponent from recovering anything from their discard pile to their hand. And since we have a switch, I will use Salvatore here so that we can evolve into Loudred, switch into Cleffa, attach this energy to reduce our hand, and then we can draw 4 with Grasping Draw. Alright, we got Loudred, or Exploud, so we can actually evolve next turn and use its Sudden Shout attack. And I think one of the best strategy against this build is to really target their Gardevoir EX, because it's the lifeblood of this deck, really. Gardevoir EX is what accelerates the energies and also deals the damage done to their attacker Drifloon. So if they don't have any way to attach those energies and put those damage counters, Drifloon will not be dealing any damage. And as you saw there, they're also using Hero's Cape, which adds 100 HP to one of their Pokemon with no drawbacks. So 170. They can reduce Drifloon's HP up to 160, basically. And that's 300 and what? 340? My math? No. 3 times, right? 3 times. So if my math is correct, it's 480, I believe, is the max damage output for Drifloon. So yeah, insane damage. All right, they will be able to evolve one of their Pokemon into Gardevoir EX again with the ability Psychic Embrace. As often as they like, they can accelerate those energies from their discard pile to their Pokemon or a Psychic Pokemon while also putting 2 damage counters to them. So it's a perfect combo with Drifloon, and there's the HP buff using Bravery Charm to add 50 HP, and they will take a knockout on 120. Anyways, Cleffa only has 30 HP. So what we could do here actually, let's evolve into Toedscruel, prevent them from recovering anything from their discard to their hand, and I'll just set up 2 more Whismur with this Buddy Buddy Poffin. Can you evolve this? I mean, I could discard this Drifloon, attach this energy to one of my Whismur, and I'll just use Iono. Get 6, my opponent gets 5. Hey, we got Counter Catcher! Let's use Artisan first, though. See what we can set up here. I guess I could set up another Toedscruel. And you know what? I'll use Counter Catcher and target this Gardevoir EX. And then we're gonna use Sudden Shout. Very nice. As long as we can keep this up, I think my opponent will have a hard time, again, accelerating energies and putting those damage counters to their attackers. But again, my opponent can just easily recover their Pokemon with Super Rod, and that's gonna be a bummer. But for now, we have to just deal with this Drifloon. Either knock it out or discard it, whatever the case may be. We should be fine the next few turns. Tulip up. Actually, Toedscruel is actually helping out here. So Tulip is a recovery card. You put up to 4 in any combination of Psychic Pokemon and basic Psychic Energy cards from their discard pile into their hand. But since Toedscruel prevents any recovery card or recovering cards from their discard to their hand, they will not be able to recover anything. So yeah, that yeah, there you go. Finally, Toedscruel is useful for something. They're probably hoping for recovering Gardevoir EX, but now they cannot, and they're just gonna attack with Drifloon, but with not enough damage counters on it, it actually does not knock out our Exploud, which is really nice. And I'm just gonna take advantage of a Rezu, and I think I'll get these 3. That way you can evolve this and guarantee an Exploud for my next turn. And in case my opponent targets my Toedscruel, I'll have another backup. And I'll put 1 more energy just in case we evolve into Exploud and it gets stuck in the active. Fully evolved, we can attack with it as well with the Headbang attack. So with Artisan, I'm just going to get another Cleffa, and unfortunately there's really nothing much we can do, and I'll just attack with Sudden Shout, which does absolutely nothing. Again, you have to evolve into Loudred the same turn. You have to evolve from Loudred into Exploud that same turn for that Sudden Shout attack to take effect. So with not enough energy, we cannot attack with it, and there's no way for us to retreat it, so it's pretty much stuck in the active spot. We need to draw into Professor Turo's scenario to get it out of play and back into our hand. But yeah, we gotta make sure that we are keeping account of what my opponent has. And they're just using that box. It ends their turn, but allows them to get 2 cards from their deck, 2 item cards, I believe. And with not much option, I could just get an energy with this energy search. And I could try and attack with Exploud here. I'm just gonna end my turn because I don't know what my opponent's gonna do. They might target my Loudred, so I won't evolve it, of course. Otherwise, we will waste that Sudden Shout attack if we evolve it and then we don't do anything, right? So I'm just gonna wait for my opponent, I guess, to evolve into another Gardevoir EX. We could slow them down a little bit as long as they don't evolve into another Gardevoir. We could just start knocking out their Pokemon slowly. I mean, this Drifloon doesn't have a lot of HP either. Technically, Exploud can knock it out, but we don't have enough energies attached. So there goes another Gardevoir EX. They should be able to evolve into another Gardevoir. And they can actually evolve this Drifloon into Drifloon and effectively add more HP. Gapejaw Bog Stadium. Alright. There's the Gardevoir EX. Okay. Explorer. So that one discards the top whatever cards of their deck. They pick 2 and then discard the other ones. It's a great way to discard energies, I guess. Top 6 cards, yep. And there it is. My opponent will take a knockout with their Drifloon. They get another prize card. And we're just gonna pivot into Cleffa and see what we can do here. Prime Catcher, hey! I might have to just take advantage of this. Switch their Gardevoir. And yeah, we can use Exploud to discard this guy. With Sudden Shout. There it is. Get that Gardevoir EX out of here. Alright, so as long as they don't have another Gardevoir EX evolve, we can start attacking with our Exploud. We have another energy in our hand, powered up, use Headbang, knock out this Drifloon, and go from there. Another Tulip. Dude, don't you know that you can't recover anything from your discard pile into your hand? Yeah. Alright, let's see what they do here. I mean, if they have Super Rod, they could recover it, but really depends on their deck list. They're gonna use Balloon Blast, dealing only 120 damage. And we got Professor Turo. We can even take this guy out of the active, but for now, I'm just gonna attack with it. I could use Salvatore to evolve into Loudred, but I will just use Headbang for the meantime. Knock out this Drifloon and start taking prizes while my opponent is having a hard time setting up. We got a Cleffa for our prize. And they also have Screamtail. So Screamtail is a little bit different. It does less damage than Drifloon, so Roaring Scream does 20 damage to one of their opponent's Pokemon. So it can attack from anywhere on the board, or it can target any Pokemon on their opponent's board, and then it deals 20 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So Screamtail is just like Drifloon, but this one can target any Pokemon. But instead of 3 times the damage, it does 2 times the damage. So it doesn't deal as much damage, but it does target any Pokemon. But with no Energizer, there's really no way for them to deal enough damage to knock out anything. I mean, they can attack with Slap, which deals 30. Thankfully, we survived with 10 HP. It's insane. I mean, I could just take it out, use Cleffa to draw, but then they can just knock it out. I could just keep attacking. I am dealing enough damage, so I'll just use Salvatore, I think, take advantage of this. See how many we have. 2 more energy cards from our deck, and I'll just evolve into Loudred. Energize it. And if anything, we could just use Cleffa to draw more cards, stall. We are only losing 1 prize at a time anyway, so I'll just take a knockout here against their Screamtail. Take another prize. We got Gift Energy. So once they knock out my Exploud, we have Gift Energy attached to it, so that will allow us to draw up to 7 until we have 7 cards in our hand. Hopefully we will draw into the card that we need. Evolve into another Exploud maybe. And they also have Alakazam. Alright. So Alakazam can move damage counters. Okay, they're moving it to Loudred. And if they have an energy, they can actually knock out my Exploud in the active spot. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Slap for a knockout. Very nice. We draw until we have 7. Okay, we got a Rezu. So we can actually get an evolution this turn. And then we could just discard this Screamtail. Let's go ahead and get... I guess let's just get all of these. And then we can use Super Rod to recover our basic Whismur. And then I'll slowly energize and then keep attacking when we have the chance to do it. Let's go ahead and recover these and energy. And then we're just going to use Sudden Shout. Discard that guy. They have 5 cards left in their deck. And if they can't recover anything else, we should be fine. As long as they don't recover their Gardevoir EX, I think we should be fine. Alright, they're gonna put Drifloon in their active spots. Energize their Radiant Alakazam. And my opponent just passes. There's really nothing much they could do, I guess. They can't power up their attacks. They can't damage Drifloon. And see if we have Energy Search. We do not have Energy Search. Guess I'll take these 2 with Arven. And yeah, let's set up more of our Whismur. And you know what? What I could do is actually use Squovit to reduce my hand size to 1. Right? And again, Radiant Alakazam. Mind Ruler does 20 damage for each card in your opponent's hand. So it will only do 20 damage when they attack, right? But for now, I'm just gonna use TM Evolution to evolve one or our Whismur into Loudred. So we have that as our lineup. And we just need to draw into an energy and we should be fine. And they're gonna use Explorer's card to discard their cards, leaving nothing left in their deck. So it's all or nothing. If they can recover anything here, they'll have to recover something. Otherwise, yeah, there it is. There's a scoop. Good game. All right, on to our next match. And we're going to start this one with a Cleffa in the active spot, a great draw engine, and a Toedscruel, which we can evolve into Toedscruel next turn and prevent our opponent from recovering anything from their discard pile into their hand. And we're going against Iron Hands EX. All right, this is very dangerous because they can take multiple prizes. Let's go ahead and use Artisan first and start setting up our Whismur or Exploud lineup. I'm just gonna check cards available to us and what's prized. And I did make a few changes in this deck, as you've noticed. I do tend to do that, make refinements as I learn from my previous matches. So I have a Reversal Energy and also Airy in this build as well. I probably finalize it in my deck profile so that I can recommend the best cards to use in this build. But for now, we can't really use our attack, so I'm just gonna end my turn. And yeah, this is very unfortunate because the future type builds with Iron Hands, they actually have the potential to attack with Iron Hands and get multiple prizes if they use Ampu very much attack. So if they knock out a Pokemon with that attack, they take one more prize. But looks like they have Miraidon. What they could do is use Future Booster Energy Capsule to attach 2 Iron Hands EX. Retreat with it, attack with Miraidon, take a knockout against our Cleffa, and then they can also energize their Pokemon. Yeah, so they have everything they need. They're going to use Lost Vacuum, I guess, to get rid of our Artisan. thankfully, we were able to set up enough basic Pokemon on our board, which is really nice. But, okay, yeah. I was afraid they had electric generator to put energies to Iron Hands, but you know what? That's all they needed was Miraidon using peak acceleration, dealing enough damage, and then accelerating 2 basic energies to their Iron Hands EX. So they can definitely increase their attack even further, even knock out our Exploud, and take multiple prizes that way. For now, I will just evolve into Toedscruel, and I'll attach a gift energy to Whismur, and with Arezu, I'll just get 2 Loudred and an Exploud. So at least we have 2 lineups of Exploud. We just need another energy for the next one, and then we can start discarding their Pokemon. And I'll just use Pushdown, you know. Whismur is just gonna die anyways. They're probably gonna use Iron Hands EX to knock it out next turn, but we do have gift energy, and that's gonna help us to draw more cards at the beginning of our next turn. They will switch out into their Iron Crown EX, and they have future booster energy capsule, so they're just gonna continue to attack, I guess. Oh, Techno Radar. I was gonna say they will not deal enough damage, but with that, if they have Iron Crown EX, Cobalt Command increases their future Pokemon's damage output by 20 more for each of these Iron Crown EX in play. So now, with a 40 base damage of Miraidon, they can deal 80 damage, knocking out Whismur and accelerate 2 more energies from their deck to their Pokemon. But thankfully, they don't have any cards in their hand, except for this one prize card that they'll be taking. And then we get to draw more cards thanks to the gift energy. They are definitely winning this game. This is really bad. I'll just use Buddy Buddy Poffin and I guess Squovit. I think Aries gonna be useless, so I'll just evolve into Exploud. I could just discard this Miraidon for the meantime, prevent them from continuing to energize their Pokemon. And since I have no other choice, I'll just use Airy, but all they had is a Baton. Just not too useful. And I'll energize this Loudred. And I'll just use Sudden Shout to discard their Miraidon. So now they don't have any way to attack with the Miraidon, and they cannot power up their other attackers. So, I mean, they can attack with Iron Hands EX. It definitely has the firepower to knock out our Exploud. But you know what? Next turn, if they do that, we can evolve into another Exploud, discard it, and now they'll be left with no attackers on their board. So we should be fine, right? They're taking prizes, but hey, that's fine. That is fine. Alright. As long as we can get through this, we should be fine. So there it is. They will take a knockout. They take another prize. We got our Salvatore here. Can evolve into another Loudred. And we're just gonna Sudden Shout this Iron Hands EX. Not too bad. But they also have this Miraidon. Very interesting. I've never really seen this card being played that much. Alright, they're gonna Iono. We will lose this Loudred or this Exploud. But we got Salvatore. And that's gonna help us to evolve into another Exploud. And then discard whatever attacker they have available. And since they're ahead in prize, even if this Miraidon attacks, we can just use our Counter Catcher or even Prime Catcher and just discard their next attacker. So they are powering up their Miraidon EX, which is pretty dangerous. Just have to worry about their recovery cards if they have any. Exploud. Let's see. Prime Catcher. Yeah, I should have just used Prime Catcher because I needed to switch out my Exploud. I forgot about that. So I will use Salvatore this turn. Evolve into Exploud. So now we can use our Sudden Shout. Continue to energize this. I'll just take out that Miraidon next turn. And then I will discard this Miraidon EX. Slowly but surely, we are discarding their energies and their Pokemon. And from my knowledge, a lot of these future type builds are just very explosive and they don't really care about recovery items. So most of the time, they don't really have any way to recover what we're discarding. So I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out if my opponent can recover those and restart again. But slowly but surely, we are taking out their Pokemon. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, so far they've discarded 9 energies. So how much energy is left in their deck? Even though they attack with Miraidon, can they accelerate more energies to their Pokemon? That's the question. That is the question. So 9, 10 for this one energy on their active. 11, 12 for the 2 lightning energies they attach to their Iron Crown EX. They will be taking a knockout next turn though. They're still dealing a lot of damage. We just use Iono. See what I get here. Ooh. We got Professor Turo's Scenario. I mean, I could stall a little bit here and use Counter Catcher to this Iron Crown because they don't have Future Booster Energy Capsule. We discarded some of it already, so we should be okay. And then we use Super Rod to recover our Pokemon back to our deck. That way we can continue to evolve into our Exploud. And I will get Salvatore. Salvatore is really, really awesome in this deck. I gotta say. Let's see what we got here. We got TM, Technical Machine. Just use Nestash. Salvatore, hey, let's go! But no Pokemon to evolve into. So I'll just use my Cleffa to draw extra cards and go from there. Hopefully they can't retreat their Iron Crown EX, and then we should... Okay, never mind. Never mind. I guess we've only taken out 1, so that's the last Future Booster Energy Capsule they have. And they're gonna boss. Alright, they're gonna guarantee a knockout here against our Exploud. Thankfully, they still need 3 prizes to go. So as long as we can take care of this Miraidon, we should be home free. And it looks like they don't have any more energies to accelerate to their Pokemon. I don't know. So now, since we have this Exploud, we have Energy Search. We have 2 energies in the discard pile, and I'm just gonna guarantee that we get one with this Energy Search. And Energy Search is really effective in this build because we only have a few basic energies, in this build, so Energy Search is really helpful. And sure enough, those 2 energies were what's left, one is prized. So now we can energize our Exploud and take care of this Miraidon to knock it out. For the meantime, I'll just get Buddy Poffin to set up another Whismur. So now we have 2 more lineups of Exploud, and what we're gonna do is just use Headbang to knock out this very obnoxious Miraidon. It's been taking out our Pokemon one at a time, but now it's our turn. You have been bullying us this whole time, but now that you don't have any more energies, hopefully you don't have any more energies, and hopefully they don't have any recover items, we can just keep attacking with Exploud and knock out their Pokemon. They're gonna try and stall and get our Toedscruel interactive, but we have Professor Turo's scenario. And I'll just evolve this Loudred, prep it for the next turn, remove our Pokemon, and then keep attacking with our Exploud. Headbang for 140 damage. So it will take 2 attacks to knock out one of these Iron Crown EX, and they can't attack, so they're just gonna pass. They're not even gonna retreat their Iron Crown EX, and that's fine with me. And this could still pose a danger though if no, we're just gonna knock it out. That's fine. There is no danger here. We'll knock it out. That will discard their energies, and yeah, I don't know how much energies they have in this deck. There's the basic energy that was prized, and that was a really good move because there's really no way for us to check our deck. So I just took that chance and recovered the energies with Super Rod. That guaranteed that we had energy to energize our Exploud. So my opponent will use Professor's Research. They have plenty of cards in their hand, but no way to energize their Pokemon. If they have Iron Hands EX and a bunch of Electric Generator, that means they'll also need a lot of Lightning energies in their deck, which I doubt because we've already discarded them. So they have 12 energies in their discard pile, 10 of which are Lightning. So yeah. I don't know, we're doing it. I can't believe it against Iron Hands EX. This is insane, guys. Anyways, I'll just get a switch with Arven, and I could try and discard their Pokemon, but for now the only move I could do is Headbang, and slowly but surely we're taking prizes here, guys. Yeah, no recovery. There's an Arven. They could try and recover something, but nope. No recovery. Like I said, a lot of these future type builds, especially the Iron Hands, they don't put any recovery. The list that I put out, the Iron Hands with Iron Leaves EX, I did have one Super Rod in there. And yeah, they're gonna try and use Electric Generator to put energies. Alright, they still have energies. They still have it. And they're just gonna retreat into a new Iron Crown EX, trying to stall, end their turn. So we're just gonna deal with these guys, I guess. Try and use Iono. We're not gonna deck out that easily, guys. We're not gonna deck out. So we're just gonna attack with Headbang. I don't know if my opponent has any other way to win this one. They're gonna keep using Electric Generator, hoping for more energies. Arven for a Nest Ball. Yeah, Iron Hands EX feeds on a lot of energy, but since we're discarding them, you know, and if they have no way to recover them, that's it. That is it. Prime Catcher, okay. Prime Catcher. No, you did that same thing, guy. I will just use Professor Turo's scenario, remove it. Soon Heavy Ball. Go ahead and remove this guy. And put this. I mean, I could just discard. No, I'll just keep attacking, that's fine. Alright, we got one Loudred prized. but we don't really need it. Let's go ahead and nest stash these guys. Draw 1, Salvatore, and Headbang. Yeah, slowly but surely they can switch out their Pokemon as much as they want, but how much switch do they have? That's the question. And how much can they keep this up? All they're doing is just stalling the, or they are just slowing down the inevitable. Electric generator. Alright. I think my opponent does not have any recovery items. Oh, they found another lightning. You know what? If they actually switch out... If they switch out into Iron Hands and they got 2 more energies, they could actually take 2 prizes and win this game. I don't know if I should knock out this guy in the active spot, now that I think about it. But they don't have any cards in their hand. What are the chances that they're gonna get another energy, right? So I'll just headbang, get 2 prizes, that's fine. The worst that can happen is that if they find an energy, they can take a knockout this turn. And then all we have to do is find another Exploud and discard that Iron Hands EX. Right? They need an energy to attack here. Arvin, okay. Nest Ball. Nothing. Nothing. They can't even attack. Alright. Alright. Let's go. Let's go, Exploud, man. I am so happy with this build. It is actually a really interesting, very, very fun, interesting build to play. I highly recommend it. Alright, so now we have 2 Explouds or Loudreds ready to go. Nest Stash will continue to help us draw. Hey! We can discard this Iron Hands EX, but then we'll lose all our energies from our active. So, I mean, I could just, yeah. Let's take a risk. Why not? Let's go ahead and evolve into... Oh no! What did I do? I just evolved this guy. Alright, I'll just body slam. I got too excited there, but I didn't realize that I just evolved this one into a Loudred, so I can't evolve into an Exploud. So I should have moved the other one, but that's fine. Again, my opponent needs to have an energy, but they don't. So let's go ahead and use this to evolve. And then let's go ahead and use Sudden Shout. Yeah, we can attach that energy, reversal energy, because we know our opponent cannot attack us anyways. And then we're just gonna knock this guy out for the last prize. Although we don't have any more energies. We should have 1 more reversal energy in the deck though, so we can still attack. But we have no cards left in our hand. Alright, my opponent concedes finally. Alright, good game. Wow, that was an awesome game. Good game. And that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching the Popsicleknight channel, and until next time, please stay safe and have a great day.